Welcome back, everybody. My name's Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. And today we're taking a break from the house. We're going to try to save some firewood. And by save, I mean we may already be too late looking at this tree right here. But I just noticed the other day when I seen this big limb fall out in the pasture that I have a dead oak right here. And it hasn't been dead long because you can still see all the brown leaves on the tree itself. But the top has rotted out and it's starting to collapse. So I don't know how much of this is actually good. The front side of the tree looked good, but once I walked around here to the rear, I'm seeing it's already showing some signs of decay. Now this is still nice and hard, but when it starts changing colors like that, I start getting concerned about if the inside is rotten. But it's a good sized tree. It is definitely dead. Now's the time to cut it down or it's just gonna rot in place. Might as well get some use out of it. I'm gonna do my best to drop it out here in the pasture so we can drag it out with the tractor, but it's got a real heavy limb that way. Luckily for me, it's got a couple limbs this way that should help pull it. So we'll cut it, slap some wedges in it, and see if we can make it go where we want it to. Then we'll drag it out there and cut it up in the pasture. It's a whole lot easier cutting than all this viney mess in here. All right, so to make this all happen, I'm pulling the old Stihl MS462 out. This is my new saw that I got about a year ago. A beast of a saw, I absolutely love it. This is a decent sized tree back there, but this shouldn't have a single problem cutting that at all. Also want to say thanks to one of you subscribers sending me out some hard hats, Mr. Donald. I know I haven't worn them. He sent them out to me because he was worried I was going to knock my head again on the house build. But what better way to use a hard hat than when you're cutting down a partially rotten tree that limbs are falling off the top. I definitely need to be mindful of widowmakers falling down and hitting me. So thanks for the hat. I definitely still have a lot of practice to do on lining my cuts up, but I got it down where it should be. Go ahead and cut this little butt end off out here in the woods. We'll drag this off out the field. You know, it's been a while since I have run all my chainsaws, and I had a viewer request that I run my old 260 Pro, a perfect lightweight trimming and bucking saw. So I'm going to run both my saws today here. Use this one for lemon, then we'll get back to that 462 to do all the bucking up of the larger rounds. I just rebuilt the carburetor on this not long ago. I don't know if I have everything adjusted correctly just yet. Let's see how well it starts up. Usually takes 3 to 5 pulls. Or 7, but she's been sitting. Alright, so if y'all have watched any of my recent firewood videos, y'all know I started using the Mingo marker. Basically, it's a little preset size wheel. You can order different size wheels for different paint drop lengths is what it really boils down to. So you put a can of inverted spray paint down in this, it sticks out the bottom, you set your wheel, and every time you roll, I have a 18-inch wheel now, so every 18 inches it drops a dot of paint. I have found that's the length that I really prefer for my firewood. I know most people cut 16, but I burn outside in fire pits a lot. The longer the wood, the better it stacks in a big fire pit. And I also found out that 18-inch length firewood fits beautiful in those IBC totes that I have back to back. So 36 inches across, it doesn't leave a gap in the middle, and it packs and fills them absolutely to the max. So 18 is probably what I'm going to stick with unless I start selling some firewood in the future and people prefer that. So let me show you how this works. All right, so as you can see, it's dropped a white paint dot every 18 inches. Now I don't have to guess. My firewood's cut to the proper length and I can just focus on cutting. I went ahead and ran all the way down the tree in literally 10 seconds. Enough yakking. Let's fire the big saw up and do some cutting. Need a grapple. we go, a decent little score for the day of some, we'll just call it partially seasoned wood. Some of it is rotten. You can see what was killing the tree. There was one side that it was starting to get some rot in, but then you still got some really solid pieces like this. All that over there is quite solid. So I can make this work. This is probably some wood that I want to try to get burnt this year though, since there's some partial rot, and obviously some of it we'll have to chunk. But still plenty solid enough to not waste and to do something with. I mean, that still feels damp right there, but then you've got a partially rotten edge like that. That's okay, my fire pit does not care. This will be some good stuff to burn. And as y'all can see, yeah, my wood rack situation's bad. I've got about 2 cords of wood over there, maybe a cord here. Oh, that is not enough. That is not enough at all. And I got one big tote back up at the barn that we're burning right now. Y'all, we've already burnt through close to a cord of wood. We actually had a lot of frost and cold in November for us. Now we're on a warm-up spell. They're saying it's supposed to be warm for the next week and a half. Then I think it cools off again. But I guarantee you, we're going to keep burning fires. So I've still got this to split up. That's some of that stuff that I let sit on the ground way too long, but it's been burning just fine. In our fire pit, won't be a problem there. That's not good quality stuff that I'd sell by any means, but I don't have enough to sell anyways. And this, I'm sure people are going to get so mad at me about this, but this was the log that I was practicing on with my chainsaw mill, and I'm turning this into firewood. It sat out here too long. I let it sit in the woods too long. This is that big ring of rot that I was telling you about. Now you can see it really easy. There's not much solid wood left in here. It's cracked. It's my fault for not storing it properly, but honestly, I'm perfectly happy with this going to firewood. I can get some more big logs from the tree service company later, but I may mill and play with this one more time, or I may get desperate for firewood and start chopping this up. That right there will make a tremendous amount of firewood in and of itself right there. So I've also got one other full, well, I call it a full trailer load, I don't really know, over at my father's. It's been so unbelievably busy here lately. I've had so much going on, I just haven't been able to go there and get it. And we got another tree to cut down at his place. So I can get the wood, finding the time to split it and get it seasoned up. That's a whole nother story. But I'll keep working on it because we're going to keep burning it and I needed it. Believe it or not, we actually have done burnt a whole tote of mostly green wood that I recently split. What I did was started fires with dry wood, built a big coal bed, and then I'll just start throwing some green pieces in. It burns perfectly fine, especially for outside. It burns really hot when you do it that way. I wouldn't do it in a fireplace, but for outside and recreational firewood, who cares? So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Who wouldn't? Firewood, chainsaws, and tractors. Somewhere Tim the Toolman Taylor's grunting. That's what episodes are supposed to be about. Don't worry, we're getting back to the house. This was a fun little play day. I kind of needed the break anyways. We have something going on at the house I'll tell y'all about in an upcoming episode, or either maybe I've already released it. I think I've already released it. I won't talk about it just in case. So I kind of had to have a dead day until Tiffany and I make some decisions. Catch y'all on the next episode.